has a connection
Father's
with father's family, so that's why I talked about Dehradun a lot. So yeah, so you are a special guy today for us. You were serious about recording?
Yeah.
you already on record.
Pressure. Okay. Yeah, as Amit said, so I have not exactly been a pure startup alone. I have spent almost 14 years in my family business, which when I joined and I helped take it, starting a new division, so I did a startup in my family business, which was in an engineering firm with factories. I set up factories in Silvassa, in Jammu, and a new plant in Pune also. But the thing is, I found that for 13 years or so, I was this all day, everywhere. So I was kind of tired of it. So I said, okay, I am kind of getting bored. So I want to move from this and I want to come to something like this. So that is what was one of the things that I thought that it's maybe partly because I used to be a professional DJ earlier. Thanks. So I had been before that already this, and then I went into that. My father told me, you don't have a choice. You're not going abroad. Just think of it. Your brother's already gone. मैं अकेले यहाँ पे रह जाऊँगा. So my career was set. That studies. So whatever little studies I could do, and then he said, okay, now you're in the family business. So I started there. We started manufacturing gensets, a new division under me. I was very lucky that at the same time telecom came up. So telecom towers required a lot of gensets. So we moved in 5 years from zero to being the largest manufacturer in the country for gensets. And then the same luck turned to bad luck when the 2G scam came in and all the telecom companies went bust. So all the demand fell down and the main players, all of this became very aggressive. So we decided to get out of that business. Coming to my own startup, 50% was my kida of changing, 50% my father said, I'm kicking you out. So I'll partly say, he said that it's now or never. I want you to have the experience of building something from scratch. So he said, though you have done it in our business, but if you start too late, you'll never get the opportunity to do that or the time to stabilize it. So he kind of said that I'm throwing you in the deep end of the pool, tumko kya karna dekho. So he told in the factory, suddenly next morning, even now my brother and my uncle and all are upset with me that tum kal se aane band ho gaye, ye kya hai? So literally overnight he told everyone, Avinash is not coming to the factory anymore, do what you have to do. And he told me, you sit at home and find what you have to do for next 2 months and then take care of it. So I was always interested in the sins and vices of mankind. So I thought, why not start something in the alcohol business? So I was interested in starting a microbrewery, so I did some research on that. Then I found that there are too many people doing the same thing and there's too much money in that. So let me explore other options. Just about that time I came across Coco Berry in Delhi because I used to visit Delhi often. And I went into one of the stores because I used to keep hearing online Coco Berry, Coco Berry. Kya hai ye? So I went inside, I saw that you're having frozen dessert with the benefits of the taste, the entire setup of 30-40 toppings, but it's healthy. So I approached them that I want to be part of you in some way, either I want to buy into your company or I want to take a franchise. So that's where I decided that okay, when they started showing positive replies to what we suggested, so that's where we started Food Jockeys as a firm, and under that we took up the franchise of Coco Berry for Western and Southern India, where we said we'd open outlets across the rest of the country where they were in. Within that also we found that we need to have our own brand to support this, because today if you see McDonald's is going into McCafe, they are opening desserts, so everyone has complimentary food and desserts and beverages now in one place. You don't want the customer to leave you. So we started another brand of food called FJ's. In fact, that's where Amit came and met us at the FJ's Coco Berry outlet at FC Road next to Vaishali. And at the same time, I was also looking at some franchisees abroad. So we came across this. I had decided actually the one thing I will not get into is coffee, because I was like, everyone is into coffee, the big names I hear, and coffee is too big a challenge. But just my bad luck that I came across a brand called Classic Rock Coffee Company in US, and I was like, okay, this coffee, but they have a rock theme, so it's totally different from your CCD and Starbucks and Costa Coffee as an atmosphere. So it's like you're in a Hard Rock or a pub, but you're drinking coffee. And so I was like, okay, there's at least something different as an atmosphere that probably people can relate to. So I talked to them about us bringing them to India. things worked out, so we ended up becoming the master franchise for India for Classic Rock Coffee. What I did raise again is going back to my alcohol kida ki in the US they don't have alcohol out there. I said in India no one drinks coffee at 7 in the evening sitting in a pub atmosphere. So I told them I want alcohol or I'm not taking it. So they said okay. So in India we decided we'll have food, alcohol, music, the works, but we have a very high-end specialty coffee shop. We are the first people to be roasting green coffee beans in stores. So you're sitting here and here there's a live roasting happening in front of you, which people haven't seen yet. Because we felt that people need to go backward more and more into coffee's origins. Everyone wants to know more about coffee. There are a lot of coffee snobs now. So where we stand today is now we are opening the first outlet of Classic Rock Coffee at the flagship outlet in Kalani Nagar, which should open hopefully by next month end. And it was supposed to be a small coffee shop, but I don't know what happened somewhere. So like the one word to describe me, I will say distracted, because I keep moving around, so it's very difficult to keep things in place. So from a 2,000 square foot coffee shop, I have come down to having a 15,000 square foot restaurant, which is with coffee and live performances like a Blue Frog, come Barbecue Nation, come Hard Rock Cafe, come Starbucks mixed in one. So I actually don't know how we would handle it, but yeah, that's where we are. Coming specifically as a startup, what I would like to talk about is, yes, when you start off, you need to do the very basic stuff of actually starting your company, which we know in India is still not very easy. So a lot of people don't realize that itself, that you need to be proper about setting up your firm, whether it's basic thing like should be proprietary, partnership, private. Like I have an LLP. A lot of people say why a limited liability partnership, why not a private limited, why not partnership. Some people say, so you have to be up to date of the latest options you have and make sure you find out what suits you, because once you start it off, you are stuck with it for quite some time. So changing it is going to be difficult. So find out the constitution you have to have. Be very clear about all your taxation, registrations, all of that. It's very mundane and cumbersome. I hate doing that. But today I realize if that isn't in place, you cannot go ahead in India in a company, because that's the first thing people ask you for everywhere. I'm like a gold mine of mistakes actually, and I unfortunately don't learn from them, so I keep repeating them also. So I'm like, it's ingrained into me in stone kind of thing. So that's lucky for you to learn from. But some things which I'll speak to which are more relevant, I'll say, a lot of things related to, let's say, funding. Now, you may either look for people to invest into you, you may want to use your own property or something else to raise funds as a debt from a bank. What I'm finding right now, like we are going for loans for this, so be very clear well in advance as to when you're going to require funds and start working on it way sooner than you think you're going to need it. A simple thing, we have 4 apartments in various family members' name which we wanted to offer as collateral. None of them are accepted by the bank because the legal department isn't accepting. Why? In 1980 a power of attorney raised was not registered, it was notarized, so that apartment is not recognized by the bank. Now I'm losing a crore worth of collateral just because of that simple thing. So we need to be very sure what you are planning to use and don't sit with comfort. हाँ मेरे पास घर है वहाँ पे मैं बाद में दे दूँगा ठीक हो जाएगा. No, get it checked with lawyers who are authorized by banks already. Get your valuations done. Valuers will come. The documents they ask for you won't realize. Today I'm facing that I have to go to PMC and take out 30-year-old drawings of approved plans. Otherwise my loans won't get passed. These are things we don't realize unless we go through ourselves, and when it comes to that stage you will know about it. Because getting investors is not so easy, and that's not the route always that you have. As an angel investor, you sell your, literally every part of the body that you have 2 of, you sell at least 1 of them to them when you are a startup, because you have nothing to show as a track record. Angel investors, you sell like crazy stakes for the value you get, or you get very low value for what you sell. So that's really your last route unless you don't have any other choice. So I'll say pay a lot of attention to that. Choose your team well. You should. I had no idea of food business. I was like, So the first thing was that choose a person who is well versed with that industry and whom you can trust. Get him to get a stake inside in some way, so that he's there for long term. Once he's there, you have to kind of plan for various admin related things which are pertaining to your back end, again as I said, your taxes, etc. Because now today when you go to the bank, the first thing they show me your returns, show me your tax registration, show me everything. these things, I've attended a lot of these workshops myself earlier, are not talked about. And that's the reason I'm talking a bit more about this. If I had known about it earlier today, I would not be struggling in spite of having so many other things to show for myself that I'm not proper with my basic legal paperwork, and that's stopping me from moving ahead by 2 or 3 months. I had to open in December, I'm opening in March just because of that delay. So every month costs any startup from 1,000 to lakhs to crores depending on what is the size of your business. Your overheads are piling up. You have to be obviously passionate about what you're doing, especially if you're leaving a job or you're leaving a business. You have to be having the belief in it. At the same time, you have to be very realistic about your cash flows. Another mistake that I did was that we weren't very clear about the budgeting. We estimated X amount of money to require for starting up any of our Cocoberry outlets that we started, or the classic rock that we're doing, and we found that we just keep adding, and you're sometimes scared to look at that figure because then it brings you back to reality. अरे नहीं हो सकता है. So you like a ghoda, you just करो, and बाद में the bill comes and then you run and hide and lock yourself in the place, or you go to places where bad mobile networks, you take a BSNL phone, stuff like that, so that you can't be contacted by people. So you need to be very clear to how much money you have, how much you want to spend. I used to be always very underestimating to be just pleasing myself, which didn't actually work out, because if I think ये 20 लाख में हो जाएगा, 5,000 में हो जाएगा, and I knew in the back of my mind it will be 25 lakhs or 8,000, but then I know I won't do it, so I'll make it less just to please myself or show 2-3 people, but the actual value is going to come. We keep thinking life is like a movie and we'll always have a nice ending which is pre-written, but that doesn't happen. You can have certain jerks and surprises. You can be killed the day you walk out suddenly to having a shock or anything. So nothing is hunky-dory. So plan for the worst and keep a very tight watch on your finances till you reach a stage where you have either hit a lottery or you have got someone like Ambani, someone backing you or something. But otherwise, I'll say that keep a very close watch on your finances, especially if you're in a capital-intensive business, because that's again something which we realized that we spent probably 30-40% more on things that did not need to, because at that time we had the money, we were like, okay, chal raha hai na, kya farak padta hai, but that did not give back the returns as we expected. So that money, instead of coming back to me in a year, I was left with that less. What further I have to put in now? So I think money management, your paper management is extremely important. You need to be sure how big you want to be, what you're going to offer 5 years down the line. Today is the world of everyone already dreaming of being bought or bought into even before you start off. So for our case, we started off from day one with a social media agency. We had a loyalty program coming in. So from day one, we have tried to project ourselves because we know we are going to be across the country with the brands we have. So starting off much later, we are going to lose out on the advantages that we get of that. So so in your respective businesses that you want, and this is not just for F&B, whatever I think I'm saying is relevant to anything, whether it's software or it's a product or it's F&B, could be anything. If people are specifically in F&B, again you have to have the basic control in food costs, etc. I think Varun will give a very good feedback of that probably to all of you guys. I still am a bit alienated from that because the team I have, they are senior and they take care, so I kind of hide away because number देखेंगे तो वापस ऐसे like actually you take care, कुछ बहुत बुरा होगा तो मुझे बताना, नहीं तो मुझे रहने दो उसमें से बाहर. So I like to keep thinking of something new that comes in. Though it may be early for you in a startup, but within a year, year and a half, you should have different revenue streams planned. What you have originally planned may not work out. If you try too late, it's not enough time to get that started. So while you're focusing on your main revenue stream, think of what else you might bring in. So for example, now we are now going into some kind of trading division of products. So we are installing in our restaurant what is called a waiter calling system, which is going to have a button and you can call the waiter like you do in a flight, which hasn't been done in Pune yet. So that's a concept I had in mind around 8 years back, that if I ever start a restaurant, I want to not do like hello boss, you keep breaking your conversation trying to contact the waiter. You don't even know who he is in the first place. So I came across this product I liked it, so now we are also going to be the distributor of this or seller of this from Maharashtra, Goa. So now the purpose is that we know there is a demand, we are in associated business, it will come up in 2-3 months, it's a different revenue stream. So it's given me after a year and a half of starting this business. So similarly you guys need to, whoever is starting a plan for a different revenue stream, otherwise the existing revenue stream, if it dries up, for example, if a liquor business, I said online, it was going well, overnight the law changed, you're out. What do you do? So then you need to know, okay, what was the other thing, like your Hipcast, which is not talking of just rating alcohols, informing people about alcohol through an app. Now they are just tying up with retailers that they cannot deliver online, so they are tying up with people and you can order with the retailer through Hipcast. So it is basically the same thing, but you are not doing the illegal part of it, of selling it or giving it yourself. So now they have already thought of that because this law was in place. So Anish is someone who started that, who I know, because as I said, I get involved in all the vices of life. So anyone selling alcohol is good. So coffee, booze, music, yogurt or dessert. So these are the things we thought would do well because at least whoever is a teetotaler will come to drink coffee or juice. Whoever is happy about their life, they'll come and eat something sweet. So that's what we have tried to get into. We have tried to see that we judge what people want. Within what you do, try to make a little bit of a difference so people notice you from a crowd. Small things can make a difference. Like for example, one thing which we did which gets a lot of attention, which for example is that in our company all the email IDs are the person's name, loves and what food he likes. Because so like my email ID is Avi loves Chinese at foodjockeys.in. My other guy is Rana loves steak, other guy is, some guy loves dosa, some guy loves coffee. So mainly it gives that personalized touch to the person. And the point is when the customer or any person receives your email, he starts thinking of food. So a lot of people tell me, yaar tere email mein bheja kar mere ko uske baad bhook lagti hai. So I said that's the purpose, that you should feel that way. So it could be anything. You could change your designations from being a simple CEO, CFO, owner, proprietor to something more innovative. It could be in your tagline. Nowadays people are accepting fun and casualness. It's not taken as a taboo anymore unless you're in a very hardcore serious business. And as long as you come across serious when you deal professionally, that's important. People have to realize your casualness or fun is limited to where it's not affecting the way you deal with them. Because when money comes on the line, no one is going to spare you. All said and done, people are not going to be casual about money. They need to know their investments are being protected, what they're getting a value for or not. So these are something which I want to touch on as to what all I've been through, so that then when if anyone of you have any questions, you all can ask me along these areas. Or if nothing else, I have not touched upon any to ask me, or feel free to do so. I may just make it up on the way, on the spot. So I also address some, I am a board member of an MBA college in Injewadi, so I address them every time for the convocation. So I know some of the questions that come, so even if I didn't know the answer then, after talking to the students offline, I understand what they're looking for, and then I realize that what is it that I have said and it did not make sense to them or it did. So then I correlate my subsequent experiences with that and come better prepared every time I come and approach a forum like you. So I think I'd like to let the question start, so then I can give Varun soon.
Sure. We are also waiting to hear one.
Yeah.
And one more thing which connects, I've been to the Food Jockeys FC Road outlet, apart from the others. The first time I saw something different. It was apart from the food being offered and the theme, the yogurts, the frozen thing. There was also a lot of books. So he is an avid reader himself, and that what connects us besides coffee and the other things.
Yeah.
One more thing. So any book lovers out here who would like to have a yogurt or a frozen thing, Food Jockey, Cocoa Berries.
We actually have the Pune book lovers meetup at our place, so we give it to them. We give a dedicated area to them. We give a good discount to them. I'm a member of that group myself anyway, so we are happy to have book lovers come there. They are free to come and pick up a book as long as they don't take it home. And we also allow them to keep old books there. So I'm a book lover, so I am very clear every outlet of mine will have books, whether it has food or not. So it will be a food place.
Like,
The one which is besides Vaishali, that
yes,
outlet.
right.
Yeah.
So even before I actually met him in person, I had already been there and been there with my friends and all. So I guess there are a lot of questions, obviously, with a fabulous.
Can be limited to 2 or 3 so that.
Yeah, we'll take 3 questions
I'm
and
fine. I was
then
just
we
looking.
can
Your choice
talk
based on
more.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
we'll take 3 questions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's on the financial side.
Yes, sir.
Have your principals, did they give you a business model on the financial side? Do they give you a break even or something like that?
They do, even we make the same for franchisees because my main business is actually going to be selling franchisees. So we have a total break-even working, capital requirement working, 5-year projection plan, CMAs, etc. Now when, in the case of the US company, the thing is that what they make as a business model is with respect to their model of selling only coffee. So what they have in the USA is a 2,000 square foot place, but US has 29 times the coffee consumption of India. So for them, the amount of coffee they sell between 7:30 and 9 a.m. is how much India sells in one whole day. So that's the kind of difference. So their business model is not applicable for me for my scale and model that I was doing in India. For Coco Berry, they did give a model. So we followed that, but again because we added our own brand, like in Vaishali के बाजू में जो हमारा outlet है वहाँ पे, or it changes from location to location, it cannot be fully dependent on.
Tentatively, what is the break even? Suppose you're starting in March. Suppose one outlet starts in
Yeah.
March, right? So what kind of projection do you have? That takes a year, 2 years, tentatively.
See, the break-even we look at in 2 ways. One is that you are talking of a return on investment. So you are talking of I've invested 40 lakh rupees, when will I get that back to me? And second is an operational break-even, that am I stopping to make losses or cash loss? So are you talking of a EBITDA which is not giving a cash loss any longer?
No,
Or are you talking of
operational-
return of investment?
Operational is good.
So,
Profit.
normally I think you should expect that you should be reaching a positive cash flow within 6 months. But again, as I said, that it depends. Like in some of my 2 of my outlets, after a year also we are still making an operational cash loss. Because the sales that we projected are not as much as we thought they would be. Or like there are a lot of unseasonal rains in entire October, November, December also. Or in like when it became colder, like Bangalore we have a store. So the sales dropped because though it started becoming warmer, it became colder. So the sale of frozen dessert falls down. So same way, there is, I say thumb rule is you should expect to break even operationally at least within 6 months to a year. It depends on what items you are capitalizing in your expenditure, how much you are converting to pre-op and how much you are putting under actual expenditure on a day-to-day basis. So
And in totality, how much would it take? Not at the operational, at the net profit level, how long would
see,
it
a QSR business or a F&B industry for restaurants, etc., the industry expects anywhere between 2 and 4 years should be your ROI on a standard operating level where your assumptions are reasonably okay. If you have a very positive thing like you're something like a hoppy pulla where the whole world wants to come all the time of the day or the night, or the opposite, that you are someone who is not getting frequented by anyone in spite of opening a very good place, then those assumptions go wrong. But like when I project to our potential franchisees, we show around 3 years ROI of the investment.
And post 3 years, does the net profit work out to about 10%?
Yes, your net profit is anyway going to be a factor irrespective of the ROI, because you are just, what you do with that money is the question of your net profit is not going to change because of 3 years or not. It's going to be the same. Only it's the question of the freed up capital that you get, that okay, you have put in 50 lakhs, you have recovered 50 lakhs, and that same profit now is becoming a surplus to you. It's not replenishing what you put in earlier, whether it's a term loan that you had taken to set up the place or whether it was your own funds that have replenished.
So what
the
is the
profitability is
the percentage, what does it work out? Net profit.
see, the food industry expects you to have an EBITDA of around between 25 to 30% is what people expect you should have as an EBITDA. Now beyond that, whether you are going to have a net profit of 10% or 18% or 25% will depend on what is the interest you are going to be paying, whether it's a capital intensive, high depreciation outlet. So because from EBITDA when you come to PBT, so when you take out the I, that's the interest, and the D, that's the depreciation, or the A, that's the amortization. that will depend on what is your cost of funds. So, but 10 to 15% के बीच में is something that you should ideally expect.
It is PBT or
PBT.
PBT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Sanjay and I have a very generic question.
Yeah.
So the assumption for this question is that you have ventured into not many businesses. So I would like to call you as a serial entrepreneur and have been there and have done so many things. And so I assume my assumption is that you have partners or founders for your businesses.
My basic premise of starting off on my own was that I didn't want any partner.
But then you are
Because I cannot, in something I'm very particular about, and if someone is having a financial stake in my company, he has the right to tell me something which I cannot ignore. So I was very clear, because my family business is a partnership business with my uncle and his son and this and that. So while we luckily had a lot more independence, but at some times you require all people to agree. ये नहीं चलेगा, वो नहीं चलेगा. Someone is elder, तो बड़ा भाई यानी भगवान. चाचा है तो जो बोल रहे करना पड़ेगा. So sometimes, like my genset business, when I set up, I was almost independent and doing it with grew. The minute I was put under the fold of someone, like my father described, from a flower who was blooming, you started murmuring. So I realized that that doesn't work for me. So I told my, even now he tells me find a partner for that with this business. I said sorry, I don't want to do it. If there's a partner, he has a right to say something. I don't want. I've had enough of that in my life. But I've lived that life earlier, so I can answer your question.
So I'll change this question slightly. If you do not have a partner, how do you form a team? Because if you form a team,
Employees.
there are employees. The employee cost would be very high. So the burn rate goes very high.
So as I said, so it depends on, if you see most restaurants that start up normally have between 2 to 5 partners and they close as fast because they don't get along with each other. Someone has different ideas. So if you have really a like-minded person, or you don't have the alternative because the financial constraint is there, or it's not that all partnerships are bad. I am talking of my mindset, how I am built. I realize that I don't get along well where someone has the right to. Even my father stopped saying things to me about creative input, etc. He's realized that it's no point. But if you cannot afford the person as an employee, but you have someone who's willing to work for you, he needs money finally. Either he already has the money and joining you as a partner where he'll put in money and he'll live off his other earnings or his existing capital, then it's okay. But if he's going to draw a salary even as a partner, it's not going to change your cash outflow. But what it is going to also add to that is that subsequently when you start making profits, you have to share those profits also. So that's where you have to realize what is he bringing into the deal. Yeah.
I'm the startup, so I just want to know in terms of culture, what do you think, how important it is, and how have you gone about implementing or creating a culture for your company itself? I mean, I'm sure it starts from you, but...
Yes, work culture is definitely very important, and I'm fortunate again that the couple of people that I had hired to work with me as my top couple of people shared my vision of that culture. So the minute I saw that, they helped me implement it down the line. Like for example, in our outlets, the rule is that when anyone enters the store, we have to be greeting them nicely. Everyone has to be always positive, smiling. So a lot of customers come and tell us that we feel at least people are happy to serve us in your store. बाकी जगह ऐसा लगता है कि वो मतलब उनको ऐसे कोई भगवान ने punishment किया और ऐसे करके. Also greeting, talking properly, you have to build it in. It requires a lot of perseverance from your side, because you have to pass on that same message again and again and again. You cannot claim you want it theoretically but not live it yourself. And you have to see what you stand for. Not all cultures have to be where you're promoting fun and good. What suits your company. Some people portray efficiency, some people portray professionalism, some people portray team bonding.
So is it through processes, or is it like gathering someone and like talking to them on and on again and hammering the
It's a
idea?
combination of both. You have to have, let us say this is your team standing here, and there's an induction process. When someone is being interviewed, you have to judge it at that time whether he's prone to actually continuing that tradition. Once he's joining, he has to be told this is what we stand for. We have team meeting like once in a week or 2 weeks where everyone is told again ऐसे ऐसे करना है. and then it has to be monitored. So there are cases where my CEO, he makes a staff member washes his 5 times in half an hour because he's not smiling. जब मुंह धो के तो fresh नहीं लग रहा है. So things like that. So it's a process. We make our staff spray deo every 3 hours in the staff room because we want to make sure no customer feels that there's body odor coming from a person serving them, because that's a big put off. And we make them have a mouth freshener every 3 hours because they have to talk to customers they should not have. So that's a process we have added to keep up the culture of appearing presentable. We make them talk to them like you would in the US, where you can talk about how's your weekend and this and that, and not just be treated like a servant. So that's a culture we have started trying to create. So you have to do both. Yeah.
Apart being running this company, you are also an investor. So
Yeah.
so what are the companies current categories you are considering right now to invest?
We have invested earlier. So my a cousin of mine who is I am Lucknow graduate, so he has a HR firm which is the headhunting and recruitment and HR solutions in Delhi called Laksh Solutions. So we first invested in him, which was started around 3 years back. So that's an ongoing thing. So we own around about 20%. I'm not right, but because it's he and I are also very close. We are like almost
So any startups you are right now considering?
Right now, the only startup I have money for is my own. So that's the unfortunate part. I come across a lot of opportunities. Yeah, we have another IIT Kanpur back. So my father is the permanent head of the IIT Kanpur alumni of Pune. So that's an advantage. He comes across a lot of people who are techies, etc. So he founded the chapter. So we have invested in a firm called Aeron System, which is into, it's basically an electronics super house in terms of design. So they supply equipment for defense, missiles, aeronautics, drones, farming, anything to do with sensors. Right now the latest is weather and
So anything related to food, beverages, startups?
right now I am not investing, as I said, directly because I need all the money I have for my own. So I had an opportunity. One of my cousins was starting a bakery in Gurgaon, in fact, which I know is doing very well because that guy is like, if you all are into F&B, you all should know KSA Technopack. So KSA Technopack is one of the largest consulting firms in India. So this guy was the president of KSA. So then his wife was also working with him. Then she started a bakery. So he left that job and came here. So you can imagine that he was earning a crore plus salary and he started into this thing. So he in fact asked me that you want to invest with me, but at that time I told him I don't have the funds currently, but hopefully at some time then definitely.
We'll take one last question from.
Hi, my name is Devin. I
Hi.
have just a question related to something related to strategy. So we have a product name as Servo. So we have, I just wanted to know, like, is it a best way to launch with one service in a whole city, or to choose like 3-4 services for a city, or just to concentrate on a small?
What is the service you are offering?
Services like home services, so you say like plumbing and all these kind of services.
Okay, so the handyman kind of.
Yes, yes.
So if you're offering that, I would say that probably you should have within that not only a plumber, if that's what you mean, you should have at least 4 or 5 of the handymen that people require. So you probably have an electrician, a plumber, maybe a painter. Or
So the thing is like suppose to launch with this perfect services in a particular area, or just to go for the whole city.
One thing I would like to hear, like we have concept like if anybody wants any service, whether it is plumber, beauty salons, or marriage hall, or hotel, decoration, painter, anything. Okay. So in current market, the thing is like we have friends on call or just that. So what we do, like based on the services, you come to our website, raise a request, and based on your request, service provider across the city will provide you the online quotation to your service. There is the online quotation, your express file code, and everything is there. So our product is ready. We have launched it in AWS clouds, and we are planning to launch right with the week or two.
Okay.
So our concern is like how we should proceed. Like we should go with plumbing or backers and movers for Pune city, or we should concentrate 8 or 10 services or worker and replace over area and we start from there?
I will say you have to start off with what you can manage comfortably, where you have to make sure the initial experience of your customer has no negative feeling, because after that no one will tell you. So if you are not 100% sure of being able to handle a full city or too many services at one time, give yourself a soft launch time with a limited area or limited number of services where you are sure you will deliver. If your system is made in such a way that it doesn't really matter because you're tying up to other people who are directly getting connected to your request coming on your site, and the quotation etc. goes directly, and your model is very clear, you are an intermediary and not responsible at the end of the day for the quality of the end service, then it doesn't matter, because then the advantage of the web is you can be in the world at one time. So that is where you have to decide whether if you tell me that I am going to send a plumber to you and I registered and the plumber doesn't come, then I am going to say ye faltu hai. But if you say I am going to arrange for a packer and mover to quote to you, it is the equivalent of a web-based Just Dial. So the Just Dial doesn't take responsibility of the quality of the people who call me or the number of people that call me. So based on what you plan, I will say make sure you are able to control the end experience of your customer such that there is no chance of them having a bad experience. Once that is done, you can slowly expand. Too big a step later is not difficult. Initial start is good. If you start too big initially, you may end up not being able to even move ahead at all.
So final conclusion is we can start with this small area.
I'll suggest that
Yeah.
based on, I am not exactly fully aware of how your model is going to work, but
See, concept is very simple. Like if you raise any particular services, so any service provider will provide you online quotation. Okay.
yeah, so what is your role in that basically?
So our role is like first challenge is to connect with the service provider. Like we need at least not all 100 service provider, but at least we require 10 to 20 service provider for each service for a location. Like suppose you need electrician, so electrician must be from Wakad area, right? So because nobody from Wagholi is going to travel and sort out your electrician related stuff. But if I say for packers and mover, so packers and mover can be from across the city. So for packers and movers, I require only 20 to 30 top level veterans to start with. Okay. But for electricians, I need for like region wise, like the people who can immediately address the. So this is the challenge. Like if I should go with like packers, movers, cleaning services. Those people are addressing across the city. So my work is like to arrange to work 20, 30 or 50 vendors and they can provide you quotation. Or second part.
See, I think your main challenge will be to get people to come on your website in the first place. Because how would they know about it? Because I don't think you're going to have TV ads and paper ads upfront from the day one. So for this, probably a localized area. So for example, if you want to deal with Wakad, so in Wakad it's easy for you to set up some banners or stickers or somewhere where people of Wakad, you can put flyers that okay, if you need required doorstep services or quotation on an inbox, you can have 20-30,000 newspaper inserts put in there, just a cost of 10-15,000 bucks, which will then get your website getting some traction, and it will also let you know, because whatever you think that is going to work will not work. Okay, so be sure of that. Whatever problems you think you have thought of, they will all be surpassed and you will be getting 30 more at least. So better to start off that way, see what people are looking for, what services they are asking for, and so you can target the area locally, but the services can be city-wise, which don't depend on, so electrician, plumber and all can be local. Packers, movers can be from across the city, but you can promote your website locally in a zone, because you cannot find electricians and plumbers of whole Pune in one day.
Right.
So where you are based to say, okay, for the services of people who are in my area only, I will call them, but for which are not dependent on local area like packers, movers or intercity activities, I will promote those services, but in a small city zone. So I can control that zone for everything and promote my website, and then you will start moving ahead probably with your experience and word of mouth, and your revenue will allow you to start adding some more advertisement cost to promote your website.
One more question. Right?
So, dear, we'll do it offline because we have another speaker waiting.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
So, I'm sure you have got quite a bit of gyan and quite a bit of insights how the restaurant or the food business works, according to some statistics as well provided. And thanks Avinash for actually accepting. He was out of station and he has to travel sometimes, but he has been gracious enough to give his time to this startup session. So thanks.
My pleasure. As I told you, I hate traveling, so I